Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video I have a couple clips that I'm showing with all the TrueMotion and CinemaScreen settings on the LG C1. This first one here is from the movie Legend, and then after this it's a scene from The Dark Knight. This one I picked because it's a fairly dim, dark environment with some bright lights in the background and also a moving camera with a moving target. The one from The Dark Knight is a brightly lit outdoors panning camera focused on a helicopter and a couple characters walking at the end of it. So it's two drastically different types of scenes that should be good for looking at motion. My personal preference is to have everything off. I don't like soap opera effect. There has never been a TV I've ever seen with motion settings turned on that I've been able to stand watching. And now that's almost not the case. The cinematic movement setting on the C1 is fairly good to me in most scenes. It's just that there are some scenes where it's immediately obvious to me that there is something going on with the motion and I have to turn it off. But I would say that that is a really good big step in the right direction. So in this scene, what I've been doing is keeping my eyes focused on the lamps on the wall in the background, and also the main character walking through the scene. Feel free to look at whatever you want. Motion is entirely subjective, and everyone's going to see different things. And I've played the scene back over and over with each different setting, and under user selection, I just tried out some various different settings to try and give an example of what everything is doing. Again, it's all personal preference, and whatever you see, whatever you like, that's up to you. So there really isn't much else for me to say at this point. Just watch through and see what looks best to you. And I'm going to go over another topic that I get a lot of questions or see a lot of questions about, and that's which TV should you buy, how do you pick out the TV that you should buy, etc. So in general, I would say the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, why do you want a new TV? Do you want OLED for better picture quality? Are you looking for new features like HDMI 2.1 for gaming at 120 Hz and 4K? Do you just want bigger size? Or do you just want the latest and greatest TV that's on the market? Then after that, are you someone that is looking for the best deal or the best TV that you can get for your budget? Because those are two very different things. If you're someone that wants the best deal that you can get, well, figure out what features it is that you want, and then buy the last year model as it's discounted after the current year model comes out. So like right now, you see a lot of people saying, should you get the LG C10 or should you get the LG C1 or even the G1? And again, if you're someone who wants the best deal, then obviously you want to go with the C10 right now because it's substantially discounted compared to the new ones, especially if you use a website like Greentoe or some boutique shops that are selling, let's say, the 77-inch C10 you can get for around $2,800 right now. And even if you don't go that route and you go through like Best Buy or something, it's $3,250 versus $3,800 for the C1 or $4,500 for the G1. But now, if you're someone who has a set budget and you just want the best that you can get for that budget, then that's different. For me personally, I figured on $5,000, that's what I was going to spend. So with that budget, I was able to get the 77-inch C1 with the 5-year Best Buy burn-in protection warranty and tax, and then had a little bit left over to pay for the Calman LG software calibration. And that's because I used the website cardcookie.com to get some Best Buy gift cards, so in the end I ended up saving about $140-something off of it. Now if I would have had another $1,000 budgeted, then I would have went for the G1, even though it's coming out that the G1 is only 5 to 15% brighter than the C1. The other advantage that I've seen with the G1 is that it's a little more accurate out of the box. So you may not need a calibration if you go G1. I mean, it should still be recommended, but it's something to consider. And for my use case, I wanted more than one or two HDMI 2.1 ports and working like everything in place for 4K 120 Hz with VRR and all of that new stuff. I could have went with the C10, but after comparing both side by side, I felt for me personally the C1 was worth it for the better control of near black. And also I feel like since the C1 is a year newer, it most likely will be receiving updates for a year after. And so let's say a new feature comes out that they're able to add in through a firmware update. You know, they probably could add it to the C10, but the question is, would they? Because they want you to upgrade every so often. So at some point, the C10 is going to stop getting upgrades, and the C1 will still get something. All right, so back on track here. If it's before, let's say, July or August, you can generally still get last year models. You know, they may be sold out as you get closer to that time frame. And if that is the case, then you're better off waiting until around September, and that's when the current year model sales will be pretty much about equal to their Black Friday deals. So anywhere between September and October, November, you can generally get the best deals that you'll find for that current model year. And then if you just want a much larger TV, you know, you still want to look for quality. I really wouldn't recommend going below mid-range. Something like Sony's X900H last year, aside from the 4K 120 Hz fiasco, was a excellent deal for a large TV with really good image quality for movie and TV watching and gaming at 4K 60 Hz. So anything below that really wouldn't have been worth sacrificing the quality to go with the larger size. And I do think that you should try to get the largest size that you possibly can, and if you think something is going to be too big, it's probably not. So I had the X900H 85-inch, and because of the 4K 120 Hz issues, I decided to sell that to my dad, you know, at quite a big loss. Then now I have the 77-inch LG C1, and I sit about 8.5 feet away, and at first it was a noticeable drop in size, but I would say within a day or so it became less apparent, and the image quality is just such a night and day difference, and the three-dimensionality of the image was just so much better that it more than made up for that, even if it is about a 20% screen size difference. I also have a new couch coming that's going to be sitting a little bit closer to the television, so the effect should be about the same once that happens. So overall, I'm happy with the change that I made, going from something like the X900H to a good OLED is definitely, in my opinion, well worth it. It is a lot of money. Going to the C10 wouldn't have been nearly as much money, but again, I don't want to regret it later on. So I just went all in for the C1. If I had another grand to put towards it, like I said, I would have went G1. Yeah, that's me personally. You know, I buy, hopefully this will be the only TV that I buy in the next 5 or so years. You know, I want to go through the whole warranty period, and then I'll decide what to do then. So to me, that amount of money divided up over 5 years, I could splurge the extra grand over the C10, because to me it was only, you know, $200 a year extra, looking at it that way. Alright, so now we're coming up to the end of this. So long story short, if you're someone that wants a good deal, get last year's model, or wait for, you know, September through November deals for current models. If you just want to get the best you can for a certain budget, then just budget for the new model and figure out what features you want and have, and then that's pretty much your first few steps in looking for your new TV. So hope this helps, and I hope the motion tests were good enough to help you out, and have a good one.